Never before in human history has African Americans been plagued with such an evil and deceitful person as Jesse Louis Jackson Sr., born Jesse Louis Burns, B-U-R-N-S, October 8, 1941. He will be remembered for the following: the betrayal of Martin Luther King, who realized it was a mistake to have asked Jesse Jackson to be a part of the movement. When he realized it, Jesse was already there for his own personal gain. For lying about Dr. King died in his arms. For literally smearing Dr. King's blood onto his shirt and wearing the same shirt the following day for a press conference in order to gravitate himself before the public. Not only did he wear the shirt for one day, he wore the shirt for a whole week. And he had a press conference, and in the press conference it said, behind every crucifixion, there's a resurrection. So he resurrected his own self. The day after King died, Jesse appeared on 103 front-page articles of the newspapers and magazines around the country. Jesse was never the apparent heir to Martin King because Jesse was 6 or 7 or 8 on the bench. You had Abernathy, you had Orange, you had Andrew Young, you had James Farmer. Jesse was never even in the starting five, so for him to be the apparent heir for Martin King's death, that didn't make any sense at all. We also remember Jesse for shaking down corporate America for his own personal use under the guise of helping African Americans. We also remember Jesse for ensuring of 34 children with care money and stealing the remaining $800,000 for his own personal use. We also remember Jesse for stealing diamonds from the soil of Africa for not practicing what he preached. We also remember Jesse for traveling to Kosovo to negotiate the release of 22 Americans, yet refusing to help Tina Olson get her child from Ed Burke and his wife. Even though Tina Olson completed required rehab and had an excellent work record and as a nurse's aide. We also remember Jesse for closing down liquor stores, then negotiating a liquor franchise, Budweiser, for his sons to distribute liquor. We also remember Jesse for embracing Bill Cosby when he spoke against absentee fathers and education, but becoming bitter, vowing to cut Barack Obama's testicles off for talking down to black folk relative to similar matters. We also remember Jesse for hoping to extract votes from Senator Obama, wishing he fails in his bid for the presidency, and hating that Obama achieved that which he never could, the approval of the people, and ultimately the Democratic nomination. We also remember Jesse for having introduced himself on many occasions as former president candidate Jesse Jackson Sr., due to the jealousy and hatred of Senator Barack Obama, and for playing good cop, bad cop with his son, who really feels just like his dad, Jesse Sr., for gaining government and media protection despite his many felonies, because he has used his agenda to undermine the progress of African Americans at large and what the government wants. We also remember Jesse for leaving the following so-called black leadership behind. Al Sharpton, who gained fame through a lie he perpetrated about a woman being raped and bound in an abandoned building, now he is contemplated into the spotlight to represent many of you. Jesse also leaves so-called black leadership behind Michael Eric Dyson, for defender of Jesse lies, who has never written a book based on the Afrocentric agenda. His books have always been written on the Eurocentric agenda. Jesse also leaves behind his brother Noah, his first partner in crime, taking the heat off of Jesse, who resides in a federal penitentiary. Jesse also leaves Jesse Jr., his only love, who he groomed to smooth talk, shake down mayors, keep funds for the voters of Dalton because he didn't like Mayor Shaw, take money from poor suburb, from immediate blitz for development in another district, while his district is the #1 in poverty, crime, foreclosure, and more yet, he receives a government paycheck for over $180,000 a year. Remember the book written by Jesse Sr., It's About the Money. Jesse also leaves behind a son he never claimed, Jesse Robinson, the grandson of baseball great Jackie Robinson. Fathers who are too blind and brainwashed to see Jesse for who he really is, African Americans who believe they are not leaders and need someone like him to represent them, a host of other pimps. So we here today to say that for those who know best, your deeds will not go unpunished. Through authorities protect you here, knowing every dog has a day, and God is alive, your day of reckoning is here. May all of your punishments come from God, from there is none like it. And so we just want to say from this point on that we are sealing the false leadership of Jesse, and Jesse will no longer lead black people anywhere in America. And we're saying from this point on that his movement is dead, 40 years of misleading, misdirecting black people, like 40 years of the children of Israel walking around in a circle for 40 years, and only Joshua and Caleb people got out and saw the promised land. And so we're saying that we will see the promised land, and that those that follow Jesse through the civil rights industrial complex, none of them will see the promised land, and that we're sealing the misleadership and misdirection that they've led black people for 40 years in a circle of wilderness, while black people are still not free and are still suffering. At this point, I want to turn it over to